So I want to tell you about a book that changed my life and sent me down the road to becoming a naturopath. I happened to be working in the health club industry at the time, and exercise was my thing. But I saw that sometimes, even when people ate right and exercised, they might still get a cancer diagnosis or another diagnosis that didn't make sense to me. And so I was looking for an answer, and I came across a book called The Stress of Life. This book is by a gentleman named Hans Selye. He was an amazing researcher, and the book was published in I think 1956. But Hans Selye is the one who identified the actual stress response in the human being. And there's three stages to the stress response. There's the alarm phase, which is when something first hits you like, oh my gosh, this is dangerous, right? And then there is the resistance stage. So you're fighting or working against whatever that thing is. And in a normal situation, you never go past resistance. So let's say, for example, you're walking down a path and there is a snake. You get the alarm, you either fight the snake, chop his head off, or you turn around and you run the other direction and get away from the snake, but then your stress hormones calm back down, and there you go. But in the modern world, we continue on that resistance way, way, way too long. So we get the alarm, and then we're resisting, but the stressor doesn't go away. And so we end up in the final stage, which is exhaustion. And so many people hit that when they have a chronic illness. So let's define actually what stress is. Because stress is your body trying to adapt to something. That could be financial worries. That could be an infection going on in your body. That could be pain. That could be, one of the big ones I'm seeing affect people is all the electromagnetic fields that are around us. We have cell phone radiation, we have Wi-Fi, we have, computers that we sit in front of. All of these things that in my lifetime came along. So we didn't have any of these things. We had a little bit of electromagnetic fields, but not much at all, compared to what we have now. And those things our bodies constantly read as stress. So just understand what happened. So Hans Selye started researching people's health and what are the common denominators in different poor health conditions. And he started seeing there's something going on that's common to all of these things, whether the person has cancer or whether the person has arthritis, it doesn't matter. There's a common denominator to all of it, and he found that it was this overworked stress response. And so it's very important to try to mitigate the amount of time you spend in the resistance phase. Now, we live in a world where we just have this coming at us all the time. I mentioned the electronics, of course, we cannot get away from that. That is, rarely can we get away from that. Sometimes when I go to Colorado, I'm in an area where I have no phone reception and it's very, very quiet and it feels great, but those are the exceptions rather than the rule. We cannot get away from that kind of stress. There are toxic stresses. Here where I live in Atlanta, we have air pollution. We're not the only area of the country, so air pollution is a constant stressor. So you get the idea. And then we've got the mental and emotional stress. I'm a huge fan of minimizing what you get exposed to with the news, because all the news stations, everything, they all are trying to just ramp you up as much as possible. They want to make you afraid so that you will tune in and keep hearing it. But, once you kind of know what's going on, you don't need to keep hearing it over and over again. So get enough data to kind of know what the scene is around you, but don't dwell on all this stuff. And we do not need to know all the tragic things that have happened everywhere in the world. It's just overwhelming, and there's nothing we can do about that. But that does set off the stress response. That's my point. So here are some solutions to help protect yourself. One, of course, minimize these things where you can. Secondly, there are herbs called adaptogens. And they're called adaptogens because they help you remember that stress response. You're trying to adapt to something that the body perceives is not good for you. So adaptogens help you deal in that adaptation phase of the stress response. They help you be able to hang in there longer without ill effects on your body. So astragalus is one of my favorite adaptogenic herbs. Ashwagandha, holy basil, ginseng. There are many adaptogenic herbs. I love a product called Adaptocrine by Apex Energetics. Adaptocrine is a combination of several adaptogenic herbs, and it's wonderful. If you look at traditional Chinese medicine, they do a lot with the seasons of the year that you're in and the foods that support you during those seasons. Well, that's because your body is adapting to different conditions. So in the heat of summer, you need one thing, in the fall, you need something else. In the winter, you need something entirely different. So that's a lovely study to look at and see how to support yourself well. But just remember, the stress response is because you're trying to adapt to something. Now, part of what makes us vulnerable to a stress response being more harmful is the condition of our nerves. That's where we get the messages. So you might see that snake, you might hear a loud noise, something like that. So somehow through your senses, something comes in that you think this is a danger, or you have a thought. You look in your wallet and you go, I don't have enough money, and there comes the stress thought. But that it's a thought, it's a brain reaction that goes through your nerves, and your nerves then tell your adrenal glands, hey, we're under stress. You've got to produce some hormones. Cortisol is known most widely as the stress hormone, and cortisol is very, very important to your body. It not only helps with the stress response, but it helps with inflammation, handling inflammation. So here we are in allergy season when I'm filming this. We're definitely using, our adrenal hormones to fight that inflammation. There are many, many things your adrenals do that are important. And so these adaptogenic herbs help you through that. The other thing you can do to help your nerves, I've talked about this before, is called earthing or grounding. It's barefoot contact with the earth. You can also, I did a great little video about a hack you can do where you take a metal spoon and rub it up and down on the bottom of each foot, for 1 minute, and that helps dissipate some of that excess energy from your nervous system. There's a link in my link tree to some earthing products that you can put on your bed, a sheet or a mat, and you just sleep on it at night. So if you don't have time to go outside and stand in the yard barefoot for 45 minutes or an hour, it's a no-brainer. You just sleep with the earthing products, and all night long you're dissipating excess energy through the earthing. It's fabulous. So limit screen time, get outdoors. Nature, especially trees, has wonderful healing energy for your body and will really, really help when you are stuck in this stress zone. We have to be able to learn to pull our foot off the gas and allow everything to relax back to that original state and not stay in stress mode for a long, long period of time. Private message me if you have any questions, if you need help. I do consultations. I'm here for you. I want to educate you, but I also want to give you things you can do. Besides adaptocrine, I'm in love with energetics products. There's 2 of them. These are homeopathic. One is called Calm 5. One is called Relax Tone. Both of these help with the effects of stress. Because they're homeopathic, you can do them extra when you have a more stressful day. I've had so many people handle their anxiety just with Calm 5 and Relax Tone. Calm 5 works great with hyperactive kids. If your kid is just a bundle of energy and cannot slow down. There's normal childhood energy. Kids are going to be active. But then you've got the kids that are over and above that. Their legs got to always be jiggling. They cannot sit still and listen to a story. They've got to be walking and moving up and down. That's an agitated nervous system. So try the Calm 5, try the Relax Tone. You can get all of these on the Fullscript site in the link tree. And let's fight stress, because it is a common denominator for every illness that we fight with. I was recently asked the question about cortisol. Is it good or is it bad? Well, you really can't answer that because it can be good and it can be bad. The question is it appropriate? So you do want cortisol to elevate when you're in a time of stress, but you don't want it to keep elevating. Cortisol also can cortisol is going to help you through allergy season. It regulates your wake and sleep cycle. It has a lot of important jobs in your body. It helps your blood pressure regulate. So if these things are off kilter, your cortisol rhythm might be off kilter. So your cortisol actually has a rhythm that synchronizes with the circadian rhythm, which is the day-night rhythm. So one of the things you can do to help yourself, if you find that you're kind of springing awake in the night and it's not time to wake up yet, but your body is like, okay, come on, let's go. You can help yourself with that by trying to sync yourself to the day-night rhythm. So in the morning, get out for about 10 minutes and let some sunlight hit your skin and your eyes. Just be out in the day for about 10 minutes in the morning. It helps your body, it signals your body through a couple of different, through your eyes and through your skin to know that it's time to be awake. Okay, so then your cortisol gets the message, oh, it's time to be awake. Then in the evening, when the sun is going down, you can also expose yourself outside a bit, so your body gets that message. But then when you go inside, be sure that you're either using a screen blocker for blue light, or you can get glasses, blue light glasses or blue light blocker glasses that will shield you from the blue light, because your computer screen, your television screen, your phone screen, all are telling your brain through your eyes that it's time to be up and awake. So you've got to cut all that stuff, wear those blue block glasses, and cut all the electronics about an hour before bedtime to get your best sleep. And that will sync your rhythms of cortisol. But cortisol serves an appropriate function in the body. The problem we have with cortisol is when it just is constantly going because of a stress response. That's going to create belly fat because it creates an insulin resistance. So that's one of the signs that you may be having trouble with too much stress reaction going on in your body.